Hey.
Did you know it's cold in there?
Yeah.
Dad, do you have any cash for a cab? Oh, look. Grandma's on the money. I never noticed that before.
It's the refrigerator, Harry.
Must be an American thing.
It's not.
So let me start with you, sir. You've lived a life with the royal family, you've had everything handed to you, but you say your life has been hard, and now you've written all about it in your new book, Where?
So I was thinking maybe later I could show you around LA. We can go to Hollywood Boulevard. Actually, it's kind of disgusting. Or maybe the Santa Monica Pier.
Yes, that's right, friend. You see, my wife and I are totally like, you should write a book because your family's like stupid, and then so are like journalists.
Never mind, that's kind of gross too. And whatever, we'll figure it out. I am just so happy to be back.
We just want to be normal people. All this attention is so hard. Isn't it true, sir, that your questionable wife has her own TV show and hangs out with celebrities and does fashion magazines?
For sure. But wait, watch this.
Picture this. You're scrolling through Reddit at 2 a.m., and suddenly you stumble across 4 images that will spark a media firestorm heard around the world. What started as anonymous uploads to an obscure animation forum has now become the most controversial celebrity roast in television history. And trust me, what you're about to hear will make you question everything you thought you knew about how far animated shows are willing to go. It began with digital breadcrumbs. A mysterious Reddit account, created just hours earlier, quietly dropped 4 uncaptioned images into a mid-level animation community.
Amazing, right?
No fanfare, no explanation, just a simple link with the cryptic title. They really went there this time. Within moments, the internet exploded. These weren't your typical fan-made sketches or recycled memes. The images were crystal clear, professionally rendered storyboards bearing unmistakable studio watermarks. In the corner of each frame, clear as day, scene 11, page 9, the kind of internal labeling that only exists within actual production pipelines. This was the real deal, and the content was absolutely ruthless. The first panel alone was a masterpiece of animated savagery.
Hey, delete.
You need to knock it off, and you're hitting everyone with that table.
There stood Meghan Markle, rendered in hyper-detailed cartoon form, clutching a cracked microphone labeled Archetypes, while standing ankle-deep in what appeared to be spilled jam. Behind her, Prince Harry looked dazed and disheveled, barefoot and wheeling a wagon overflowing with unsold memoir copies. The caption beneath this scene of domestic chaos? When branding becomes haunting. But that was just the appetizer. The subsequent frames painted an even more devastating picture. One showed a weathered gravestone marked, Privacy, 2018 to 2020, a not-so-subtle commentary on the couple's relationship with media attention.
Bravo fired me. Well, not really, but basically, they only offered me friend of the housewives for next season.
Another depicted Meghan wearing a crown crafted entirely from press passes, stirring a bubbling cauldron labeled content strategy, like some sort of modern-day media witch. Perhaps most jarring for those who remembered South Park's previous royal roasting was the background detail work. The animators had stuffed every corner with references to past controversies. The Oprah interview playing on a cracked television screen, a Suits DVD being used as a makeshift drink coaster, and a blurry road sign reading Monteceto, Population 2, plus lawsuits. The Reddit community fell into stunned silence. No upvotes, no immediate reposts, just collective shock as users processed what they were seeing. Then came the digital avalanche. Screenshots began flying across social media platforms. Twitter accounts grabbed the images. TikTok creators started crafting reaction videos. Within 20 minutes, the entire thread vanished without explanation.
Hi, I'm Meghan Markle.
And I'm Harry. Harry.
And we're royally screwed.
But the internet never forgets. Users who had reshared the images found themselves quietly shadow banned from various platforms. Most disturbing was a comment from someone claiming insider knowledge of Fox Animation's post-production process. Before their account disappeared entirely, they left one chilling message. This version didn't get cut, it got buried. Suddenly, this wasn't just another celebrity cartoon joke. This was a full-scale digital mystery. People began whispering theories about intentional leaks, inside sources, and corporate cover-ups. The speed of the takedown efforts suggested that Meghan's team might have seen these images before the general public ever laid eyes on them. And if this was what leaked out, what other animated ammunition was still locked away in studio vaults?
I'm sorry, I'm just really stressed. We're completely out of money.
Maybe it's time we dip into your fortune from Suits.
There is no fortune from Suits.
What happened next would make that first leak look like child's play. The second wave of images didn't just sting, it cut straight to the bone. Labeled internally as Scene 12 Alt Cutaway, this sequence was reportedly titled The Brand Graveyard, and according to internet detectives, it had originally been pitched months earlier before allegedly being pulled by network legal departments. Now 4 complete frames had surfaced, and they were absolutely savage. The sequence opened with Stewie and Brian wandering through a fog-drenched cemetery beneath a flickering neon sign reading, "Here lie the brands." The entire scene was styled like a Tim Burton fever dream, with corporate logos twisted into tombstone shapes throughout the misty landscape. As the iconic duo strolled down a crooked path, individual gravestones came into sharp focus. One marker read, "Pearl Jam, Monteceto Edition." Another was shaped like a giant Spotify waveform, split dramatically in half. But the centerpiece was a crumbling memorial rendered in tarnished gold foil. The American Royal rebrand, "Born loud, died louder." Then, the camera revealed the real target.
I don't know what to do. How are we gonna pay for school for Archie?
I have to tell you, I never realized so many things cost money. Like this chicken. I bet you had to pay for it.
Cartoon Meghan stood at the cemetery's center, draped in a flowing black cape stitched together from magazine covers. Her designer heels sank into muddy soil as she attempted to pour tea into a mug shaped like Oprah's head. Every time she tried, the liquid leaked through a hole labeled "Trust." Meanwhile, Prince Harry sat nearby on a folding chair beside a coffin marked "Spare 2, Even Spacer," holding a jam jar with a faded label reading "Ever Limited Authenticity." No matter how many times he tried to bury it, the jar kept floating back to the surface. The dialogue was equally cutting. Stewie turned to Brian and whispered, "What's more terrifying, ghosts or influencers with victim narratives?" Brian's response, "Depends. Do the ghosts have podcasts?" But the final moment delivered the knockout punch. As Meghan raised her arms declaring a rebrand resurrection, the ground split open dramatically. A glowing hand emerged from the earth, a ghostly, pearl-adorned corgi paw clutching a tabloid featuring Diana's photograph on the front page. The Meghan character gasped, stumbled backward, and dropped her crown, which rolled directly into the grave marked "Privacy," tipping over the headstone in the process.
I'm sorry.
It's not your fault. I kind of took you out of your natural habitat. I'm surprised you're still breathing.
The sequence concluded with Stewie spray painting a message across a blank tombstone. Coming soon, Netflix's apology tour. As the scene faded to black, leaked production notes revealed one additional line that was apparently cut before final animation, a whisper emerging from the fog saying, "Reputation is the one thing you can't monetize twice." The content was bold, cruel, and surgically precise. Whether or not this scene ever makes it to television, one thing became crystal clear. The writers had abandoned any pretense of pulling punches. But what came next would make even this graveyard scene look tame by comparison. The third leak didn't take place in a spooky cemetery. It unfolded on a talk show set that would haunt anyone who saw it. The next batch of images arrived like a digital ambush. This time, the setting was a fictional daytime talk show, set part Oprah, part Ellen, part psychological thriller. The storyboard was labeled Scene 13, Meghan's Manifestation Hour. And even in still frames, the energy was absolutely chilling. The set design was lavender and gold, with oversized roses in the background and a live audience sign that flickered between applause and emotional manipulation. In the opening frame, cartoon Meghan sat alone on a plush couch shaped like the Spotify logo, holding an enormous microphone carved from Himalayan salt. A voiceover introduced her as your Duchess of Disruption, your Empress of Empathy, and your CEO of Self-Discovery. The camera then pulled back to reveal the truly disturbing detail. The audience consisted entirely of cardboard Oprah cutouts, each displaying different facial expressions: shock, pity, disappointment. One cutout was visibly cracked down the middle, held together with duct tape. Then came the co-host, a spectral corgi, wearing Princess Diana's famous pearl choker, floating across the stage before curling up beside Meghan.
How dare you, sir? My Instagram-loving wife has always wanted her privacy!
In a voice that internet users immediately compared to Dame Maggie Smith, it muttered, "We tried warning you, but you kept scheduling panels." The voice was British, elderly, and utterly exhausted. The humor here was subtle, but absolutely devastating. Eagle-eyed Reddit users zoomed in on Meghan's cue cards, reading phrases like "reclaim the narrative," "paint a profit funnel," and "next guest," someone less polarizing. Each card became progressively more absurd, with one simply stating, "tear up on cue." In the third frame, Meghan began introducing her new healing product line, only to be interrupted by the ghost dog sighing. Did you think no one would notice the label's just a sticker? But here's where things got really interesting. Unlike the other crystal-clear frames, the final image was deliberately pixelated, showing Meghan mid-sentence, clearly reacting to something happening off-screen. Her animated face displayed genuine shock, lips frozen in the middle of forming words that viewers couldn't decipher. Reddit users went wild with speculation. Was Oprah making a surprise entrance? Was there a cutaway to Monteceto's astronomical Wi-Fi bills? A mock phone call from Tyler Perry? The theories multiplied by the hour, but one explanation stood out from someone claiming insider production knowledge. According to this anonymous source, the original scene featured a ghost of future relevancy walking onto the set and silently handing Meghan a mirror. When she looked into it, instead of seeing her reflection, she saw a tabloid headline reading, "Former Duchess Still Talking." Fox allegedly cut this sequence after heated internal debates about whether it crossed the line from satire into cruel psychological warfare. Regardless of what was actually planned, the damage was done. The scene's aesthetic.
If it's truly what we want, then we really can get away from it all. No more magazines and Netflix shows. We really can live a normal life. Yes, I'm sure you agree, darling.
A parody of personal branding so intense it resembled a digital seance struck nerves across the entertainment industry. Critics called it a masterclass in animated character assassination. Fans simply called it ice cold. But what transformed this leak from entertainment gossip into a full-blown cultural phenomenon wasn't the jokes themselves. It was what internet detectives discovered hidden in the background details. Because when someone scanned a particular shape on the set wall, this story stopped being about cartoons and started looking like something far more calculated. The discovery happened almost by accident. In the third frame of the haunted talk show scene, just over Meghan's cartoon shoulder, there was a strange geometric shape incorporated into the wallpaper design. Initially, it looked like abstract set decoration, but one particularly observant Reddit user decided to investigate further. They zoomed in, adjusted the brightness and contrast, and fed the image into a QR code scanner. What happened next sent shockwaves through the entire thread. The code actually worked, leading to a long-dormant Fox Animation subdomain. The page was mostly empty, archived, inactive, forgotten, but the header was enough to send chills through anyone following this saga. 2026 Upfront Assets. This revelation made no sense. Why would storyboard frames supposedly from a fall 2025 episode contain QR codes linking to promotional materials for the following year's network previews? The timeline was completely backwards, and theories began multiplying at breakneck speed. Some dismissed it as coincidence, leftover art department assets, digital debris from previous projects. But skeptics weren't convinced, especially after someone else noticed another suspicious symbol. This one was carved into the corner of the audience shot, etched into the stage floor like a watermark. A tiny television screen with a lightning bolt striking through its center. Veteran animation fans recognized this symbol immediately.
We'll just have to find a way to make £50 billion on our own.
It had appeared years earlier in a seemingly innocent South Park teaser that later turned out to be part of an elaborate stealth marketing campaign designed to generate viral buzz weeks before the actual episode aired. The implications were staggering. Reddit detectives quickly dubbed it the Fox funnel theory, the idea that these weren't accidental leaks at all, but carefully orchestrated breadcrumbs designed to transform Meghan and Harry into unwilling viral marketing fuel. The evidence was circumstantial but compelling. Too many conveniences, too much professional polish, and takedown speeds that felt suspiciously rehearsed. One user claiming web security expertise pointed out that the speed with which image links were flagged and accounts were suspended could only happen if automated content detection systems had been pre-programmed to recognize those specific assets. In their words, this wasn't cleanup, this was choreography. Screenshots of the QR code discovery spread across Twitter, Tumblr, and TikTok within minutes. One comparison video showing the QR code alongside the mysterious subdomain accumulated over 800,000 views in under 3 hours. Suddenly, the question on everyone's mind shifted from, is this content real, to, how far in advance did Fox plan this entire campaign? Because if this theory was correct, if these animated segments weren't just mocking Meghan and Harry, but actually using them as centerpieces for a long-term marketing strategy designed to dominate animation headlines for months to come, then audiences weren't just watching a celebrity roast. They were witnessing a carefully orchestrated media rollout. And behind the high gates of Monteceto, the mood had reportedly shifted from annoyed to absolutely furious. Inside Meghan and Harry's Monteceto compound, panic was setting in.
I'm sorry, I need a drink.
The moment those new frames exploded across Reddit, and especially after the QR code revelation started trending worldwide, insiders report that Meghan's inner circle shifted into complete crisis mode. The first emergency call wasn't made to publicists or brand managers. It went straight to legal. By sunrise, sources claim the Sussex team was huddled on an encrypted conference call with a Los Angeles defamation attorney who specialized in representing A-list celebrities against late-night television segments, sketch comedy shows, and animated satire. According to one entertainment paralegal familiar with the same firm, this was the type of lawyer you contact when you want problems to disappear quickly and quietly, with no apologies and no media coverage. But satirical content presents unique legal challenges because it's constitutionally protected speech. That's where the strategy apparently shifted. Insiders suggest Meghan's legal team began exploring what's known as a false light claim, an obscure legal avenue, arguing that the subject was portrayed in misleading ways that cause measurable reputational damage. It's not traditional defamation, but rather narrative distortion, a much higher legal bar, but one that Meghan's team allegedly believed they could meet, particularly regarding the Diana references and ghostly corgi imagery. However, not everyone agreed with this approach. Sources close to the situation report that Harry strongly urged against legal escalation.
Auntie Meghan, hello! Oh, I've missed you!
According to a former streaming platform executive who maintains contact with Monteceto staff, Harry appeared visibly distressed during these discussions, arguing that suing a cartoon would only amplify the negative attention. He reportedly told Meghan, "If we take legal action against animated characters, we become the punchline permanently." But Meghan was allegedly furious, firing back that this wasn't just comedy. It was systematic character assassination disguised as entertainment. And her concerns about escalating damage weren't unfounded. By that point, memes featuring the haunted talk show scene had already been edited into TikTok videos set to funeral music. One viral post showed split-screen comparisons of cartoon Meghan alongside real footage from her various media appearances, captioned, "From documentaries to deadpan comedy." Legal counsel wasn't the only professional service on speed dial. According to a crisis management strategist who previously handled red carpet emergencies for major studios, Meghan's team also contracted a private analytics firm to measure the viral spread of the leaked images. What they allegedly discovered left everyone on the call speechless. The most widely shared image, Meghan sipping tea from an Oprah-shaped mug while the judgmental ghost corgi looked on, had generated over 78 million impressions within just 24 hours. The terrifying reality was that not a single one of those impressions came from official network accounts or promotional materials. This content wasn't even scheduled to air yet, which raised the nightmarish possibility that Meghan was trapped in a viral spiral with no clear endpoint.
Anyway, Meghan, you were saying Dorit's such a what?
What? No, I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything, Dorit.
Well, I heard it somewhere.
That's when, according to someone close to her publicity team, Meghan supposedly uttered the line that's now circulating through Hollywood insider channels like wildfire. "If we don't stop this immediately, they'll never stop coming for us." What Meghan might not have realized was that stopping was never part of the plan. Because while her team scrambled for legal leverage, the writers were reportedly treating the entire situation as a victory celebration. While Meghan's crisis management team worked overtime in Monteceto, the atmosphere inside the production offices couldn't have been more different. According to a production assistant speaking anonymously through encrypted messaging platforms, the writers' room was electric with excitement, not paralyzed by fear. They knew exactly what they had unleashed, and it was absolutely intentional. The assistant revealed that this wasn't some accidental leak that slipped through security protocols. It was practically engineered to escape. The alleged motivation? Pure competitive one-upmanship within the animation industry. Insiders report that the backlash to the original leaked storyboards, featuring the golden throne of broken microphones and Diana-stamped coins, wasn't interpreted as a warning to dial back the content. Instead, it was seen as confirmation that they were onto something powerful. Apparently, one senior producer joked during a recent script reading, "If they lost their minds over the first batch, they're going to absolutely lose it when we roll out scene 13. The creative goal wasn't to retreat from controversy. It was to lean into it harder." Sources connected to the animation pipeline suggest that after the initial leak generated massive online engagement, Fox executives actually gave the writing team expanded freedom to incorporate Meghan and Harry into additional sequences, including full-length parody segments and recurring background gags. One concept reportedly in development for the upcoming season involves a mock reality dating show where cartoon Harry serves as the sole male contestant. The twist? Every potential romantic partner is just Meghan in different disguises, each one shouting "Reclaim the narrative" through a megaphone. It's not subtle, and according to insiders, subtlety was never the objective.
Over, under, around and through. Meet Mr. Bunny Rabbit, pull and through. I did it.
Good job, Harry.
An unnamed writer, posting under a verified alternate account on a private animation forum, explained the broader strategy. This isn't just about roasting the Sussexes anymore. It's about testing industry boundaries. How far can we push satirical content before we hear from their legal teams, or from Oprah's people, or from streaming platforms? Another writer responded with an even more revealing claim. The leaked frames were allegedly screened intentionally during late-night pitch sessions with network executives, specifically to gauge internal reactions and measure risk tolerance. What's becoming clear is that none of this was accidental or unauthorized. This was a systematic stress test of satirical limits. When the internet didn't collapse in outrage but instead amplified the content through memes, reactions, and viral sharing, the creative team reportedly interpreted that response as a green light to push even harder. One insider described the phrase being circulated behind the scenes. "If South Park drew first blood in animated royal satire, we're going straight for the jugular." There are also whispers suggesting that other animated series are now feeling emboldened by the success of this approach. A junior writer from a competing network's primetime animated show allegedly posted a since-deleted social media tease about a crossover event planned for their fall season lineup. Even stand-up comedians who had previously avoided Sussex material entirely due to potential backlash are reportedly developing new bits around the couple. What Meghan and Harry probably assumed would remain a contained, manageable cartoon gag has snowballed into an industry-wide cultural moment. And if Meghan hoped that mainstream media coverage would be sympathetic to their situation, she was about to be very disappointed, because across the Atlantic, things were about to get much uglier. While American media outlets characterized the leaks as satirical entertainment, British publications treated them as public humiliation on an international scale. Within 24 hours of the explosive Reddit revelations, UK tabloids were circling like predators, sensing wounded prey. The Express didn't mince words with its digital headlines screaming across phones and tablets. "Cartoon mockery marks Harry's final fall. Even Diana would cringe."
Hey guys! So funny bumping into you.
Yeah, I mean, we all live here now, so not that funny.
This harsh tone wasn't limited to a single publication. It represented a coordinated media assault. The Daily Mail ran split-panel comparisons showing cartoon Harry fumbling with jam jars alongside real footage of Harry delivering speeches on mental health advocacy. The headline beneath these images was brutal. He begged for privacy. They gave him punchlines. Even The Sun, typically more playful with celebrity coverage, adopted an unusually sharp edge. One columnist accused the couple of opening every door to public mockery and then acting shocked when the entire house burns down around them. But this time, the criticism extended beyond traditional media outlets. A source close to Buckingham Palace, speaking off the record to a Times journalist, revealed that senior palace advisors were deeply concerned about the sheer scope of international ridicule. According to this insider, there had been quiet hopes that Harry might eventually reconnect with the royal family's inner circle, in time for certain upcoming ceremonial events and anniversaries. However, the source was devastatingly blunt. This situation has made any reconciliation nearly impossible. The monarchy cannot afford to be associated with someone who has become an international meme. The practical consequences were immediate and harsh. Two high-profile events featuring Harry's scheduled appearances suddenly removed his name from their promotional materials. One was a veterans fundraising gala in Scotland where Harry was set to participate virtually. Another was a mental health summit in Germany, reportedly booked months in advance. Both organizations quietly scrubbed Harry's involvement within 48 hours of the leak going viral. No announcements, no explanations, just strategic erasure. A British public relations strategist offered insight into this phenomenon. If you're an event sponsor, and your featured speaker has just become an international laughingstock, you eliminate the association before anyone questions why you didn't act sooner. Meanwhile, Prince William's team maintained absolute radio silence. No denials, no statements, no damage control, just calculated, deliberate distance that royal correspondents describe as more communicative than any public response could be.
Oh, you're hilarious, Meghan.
Why did you move back here anyway? It was ultimately a tough call, but there were a lot of factors to consider.
One veteran royal correspondent characterized it as strategic ghosting designed to signal that Harry is no longer considered part of the institution's official narrative. The situation became even more complex when British broadcasters covering the animation controversy began openly speculating whether this level of cartoon ridicule would have been possible if Harry had remained within the royal framework. One former palace press officer told ITV there was inherent reverence when he wore the uniform and carried out official duties. That protective barrier is completely gone now. Now he's just content to be consumed. When that particular quote went viral, it landed harder than any animated scene ever could. Because when your homeland stops viewing you as protected royalty and starts seeing you as fair game for comedy consumption, there may not be any palace doors left to reopen. But Meghan had never been someone to sit quietly during media storms. And according to industry insiders, she wasn't planning to start now. Meghan has never been one to remain passive during media controversies, and multiple entertainment industry sources suggest she's not planning to break that pattern. Rumor has it she's developing a carefully calculated counter-response that won't involve lawsuits or social media statements, but something much more familiar to her skill set: podcast content.
We couldn't get jobs and we ran out of money. We ate chicken out of bowls and rode in big cars full of smelly people to something called work. Every day was a new nightmare.
Sources connected to her media team report that Meghan is working on a new episode titled Laughing It Off, a comeback narrative built around the concept of owning the ridicule. The format would feature roundtable-style conversations with public figures who've been dragged through viral mockery, parodied mercilessly, and lived to reclaim their narrative successfully. But here's the strategic twist. An internal memo allegedly leaked from a Hollywood public relations agency working adjacent to Meghan's team makes the true objective crystal clear. This podcast episode isn't about emotional healing or personal growth. It's about regaining narrative control. The memo reportedly continues. This content will allow Meghan to shift public perception from mocked victim to magnanimous survivor, without admitting any personal responsibility for the situation. Translation: laugh just enough to appear emotionally evolved and above the fray, but not so much that it suggests acceptance of the criticisms. The guest lineup remains confidential, but one potential participant has leaked, and it's raising eyebrows throughout animation industry circles. A former voice actor from the show's cast, someone who left under quiet, unresolved circumstances, is allegedly in discussions to appear on the episode. This performer, who once voiced a recurring secondary character, has gone on public record criticizing shock value writing approaches in modern animated television. According to an entertainment blogger with access to casting correspondence, this former cast member has been invited specifically to discuss the emotional impact of animated satirical content on real people targeted by the comedy. One anonymous insider summarized the strategy bluntly. They want someone from inside the machine to publicly declare that the machine is fundamentally broken. The goal is to position Meghan not just as a punchline, but as a cautionary tale about entertainment industry cruelty. However, not everyone in her circle thinks this approach is wise. One source, close to a major streaming platform, allegedly warned that this strategy risks transforming laughing it off into begging to be taken seriously. The concern is that by directly addressing the animated roast at all, Meghan re-enters the controversy and potentially reinforces her position as someone desperately trying to self-mythologize her public pain.
There were highs and lows. It's all good. Anyway, see you guys at tea. Come on, Harry.
The business implications are already becoming apparent. Corporate partnerships are watching these developments carefully. One brand partner allegedly paused their collaboration deal with Archetypes after hearing about the planned podcast theme, with internal concerns that Meghan has become too reactive, too memified, and too polarizing to represent their products effectively right now. Even more concerning, a European skincare company reportedly in advanced negotiations for a collaboration deal has gone completely silent since the animation leaks began trending globally. Meanwhile, Meghan's own advisory team is reportedly split down the middle. Half are pushing for immediate release of the comeback episode, hoping to ride the wave of current attention. The other half are pleading with her to delay indefinitely, to let the storm pass naturally, and to avoid giving the animation writers even more material to work with in future episodes. But according to a producer familiar with Meghan's previous media projects, strategic retreat has never been part of her psychological makeup. She doesn't believe in letting other people write her story for her. She believes that controlling the microphone equals controlling the power dynamic. What she might not realize is that someone else already has the next scene scripted and ready to deploy. Because according to multiple entertainment industry insiders, there's still one more unreleased segment waiting in the wings, and it may be the most savage content yet produced. The internet operates by one unbreakable rule. Once something leaks, there's always more content waiting in the pipeline. And right now, in the shadowy corners of animation forums and locked Discord servers, the whispers are growing louder and more specific. The latest rumors suggest that everything we've seen so far, the jam graveyard, the ghostly corgi, the Oprah-shaped mug, were merely the opening acts. According to multiple anonymous posts from accounts connected to Fox's animation subcontractor networks, a longer, unaired 3-minute montage sequence was pitched, storyboarded, and partially animated before being pulled prior to voice recording sessions. And what's allegedly contained in this extended segment? Pure character annihilation. The sequence reportedly opens with cartoon Harry wandering through a massive American superstore, pushing an empty shopping cart. He stumbles into an aisle marked Titles and Relevance and attempts to scan his royal credentials at a malfunctioning return kiosk. A robotic voice responds, "This item is no longer refundable. Have you tried being interesting instead?" In the next beat, Meghan appears wearing a branded trench coat, hawking a product called Chakra-Infused Jam. Behind her, a banner reads, "Now available at Goop and failing." She's simultaneously live streaming on 2 phones, one labeled Spotify Guy, the other Oprah Maybe. According to the leak, both phones begin melting mid-scene, dripping into a puddle that forms the Netflix logo, before evaporating entirely. The escalation continues with the third portion allegedly showing a fictional Buckingham Palace press room staffed entirely by animated corgis, each wearing headsets and frantically muttering phrases like, "She posted a gang," and "Scrub the Diana archive" before she quotes it. A bald, red-faced royal advisor screams, "Why did we ever teach them how to use email?"
Down with the motorhead.
We deserve our privacy!
These people.
The reported punchline involves one corgi pulling a lever labeled Ghost Protocol, triggering a cutaway where Princess Diana, drawn in respectful grayscale, slowly lowers a tabloid newspaper and mutters, "I gave you everything, and you gave me this podcast." This particular line was allegedly considered so radioactive that it was eliminated before even reaching network legal departments. But multiple forum posts suggest the sequence was tested internally, shown to a very limited group of writers, animators, and studio executives as part of a creative boundaries assessment. Here's where things get even more mysterious. Some users claim that screenshots from this montage exist, not posted publicly, but shared privately through direct messages on a one-to-one basis. One Reddit user reported being shown a frame of Meghan reading a script titled The Comeback, with a visible margin note reading, "Try to cry before timestamp 110. That particular post was deleted within 5 minutes, the user's account completely wiped from the platform. No archived copies, no digital trail remained, but not before someone captured the information. Within hours, the phrase Walmart title return began trending across social media platforms. TikTok creators are already dramatizing the scene using artificial intelligence voice generators. One popular content creator stitched together a fake animated sequence of Harry attempting to scan his royal title next to a cereal box labeled Spare Flakes. The video has accumulated over 9 million views, and the official episode hasn't even been broadcast yet. So the question hanging over this entire saga isn't whether this extended montage will eventually leak to the public. It's simply a matter of when. And if it does surface, Meghan's media war may escalate from damage control to brand survival mode, because there's a crucial difference between criticism and caricature. And Meghan and Harry have definitively crossed that line, maybe not by choice, but certainly by unstoppable momentum.
Clark County Police Station, what's your emergency?
Yeah, the neighbors across the street are setting off fireworks and it's 10:30 at night.
Oh, is it the Prince of Canada and his wife who just want to be left alone?
And the consequences extend far beyond any single cartoon episode or even multiple episodes. This represents something deeper, more dangerous, and infinitely harder to control. The moment you become a meme, especially one broadcast to millions of viewers worldwide, you're not just being mocked, you're being systematically reduced. You become looped into catchphrases, parody voices, Halloween costume concepts, and 20-second TikTok clips with trending audio that erases your carefully crafted narrative before you can even formulate a response. For most celebrities, this kind of viral mockery is survivable, even potentially career-enhancing. But for Meghan and Harry, whose entire post-royal brand was constructed on foundations of dignity, authentic vulnerability, and meticulously curated storytelling, this level of international ridicule hits at a structural level. It doesn't just sting temporarily, it systematically undoes years of careful image management. The effects are becoming increasingly visible behind closed doors throughout Hollywood's power corridors. A prominent entertainment strategist allegedly described Meghan's Q-score, a private industry measure of celebrity appeal and marketability, as being in complete freefall. According to this insider, her general likability ratings have dropped by double digits over the past 6 months. And that decline accelerated dramatically after the haunted talk show mug incident, the ghostly corgi appearances, and the trending kiosk punchline. One veteran network executive offered a more blunt assessment. The issue isn't that people actively hate her anymore.
Now the prince is playing polo on the lawn.
We are here because privacy is a basic human right.
The problem is they're no longer afraid to laugh at her openly. And in this industry, that shift is infinitely worse than hatred. Perhaps the most devastating aspect of this entire cultural phenomenon is the deafening silence from Meghan's former high-profile allies. Oprah hasn't said a word publicly. Gayle King, once a vocal defender during previous controversies, has gone completely radio silent. Tyler Perry, godfather to Meghan's daughter, and her one-time emergency protector, hasn't so much as liked a supportive tweet. And Beyoncé remains conspicuously, completely absent from any related conversations. This isn't active hostility or public betrayal, it's strategic distance. And in Hollywood's ecosystem, that kind of coordinated silence doesn't happen accidentally. It occurs when industry power players begin pulling back from associations, not with dramatic announcements or public conflicts, but through careful avoidance. They sense a reputational storm approaching and decide it's safer to let a personal brand burn quietly than risk standing too close when the damage becomes irreversible. As for the animation writing teams, industry word suggests they're nowhere near finished with this content mine. Several insiders report that the upcoming fall episode lineup includes a cold opening sequence that uses Meghan as the setup for a completely unrelated joke. She's not even the punchline anymore, just background noise that no longer requires explanation or context.
Hell? What did he just say? He victimized me! It's because I'm an ethnic woman! He can't do that! I'll see. Wait, you're ethnic? This is an outrage! We'll just see how he deals with my blue.
That transformation represents something far more significant than satirical content. When you become such a familiar punchline that you can serve as shorthand for other jokes entirely, the pathway back to serious brand credibility isn't just uphill, it may have vanished altogether. The question now, hanging over this entire saga, isn't whether Meghan and Harry can successfully reclaim their narrative control. It's whether they'll ever own any meaningful narrative again, or if they've been permanently relegated to the role of cultural references that other people use to make their own points. The internet loves a good downfall story, and right now, that's exactly what this has become. The only remaining question is how much further it can possibly go, and based on everything we've uncovered, we might not have seen anything yet. What do you think about this entire situation? Are the writers going too far, or is this just the natural evolution of celebrity satire in the digital age? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, hit that like button if this breakdown opened your eyes to something new, and make sure you're subscribed because trust me, this story is far from over. The next video is already in production, and what we've uncovered about the industry's response is going to blow your mind completely.